All right, Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah Kudash, for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this truth from. They are the real prophets of these end times, giving us the correct way of salvation and teaching us the truth of the Holy Bible. I'm not officially a part of their camp, but I will say that I learned strictly under their teachings, as I recognize them through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, to be the real prophets of these end times. Shalom to you, brothers on the highways and hedges, giving up your bodies a living sacrifice. Shalom to you, Akwaf, in order, meaning you Israelite sisters that are in order. And shalom to you, Israelites scattered abroad and may look like these other nations, but your seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, making you a Hebrew Israelite regardless of what nationality you may appear to look like. Because this thing ain't necessarily about color. It's about your seed line and who your seed line goes back to. So shalom to you, and shalom means peace be unto you. Okay? All right, this lesson today I'm going to speak on Esau and his characteristics. And I'm going to go into a few things because there's a couple of clips I want to play in this lesson. Could be quite lengthy, and I'm going to bring it out as far as, how vile Esau is. But the main thing I want to focus on is that this man, he's a eater of red meat, and our people ought not follow in the ways of these people, man, because they're not leading us down the path of righteousness, okay? Now, to start this lesson off, I want to play a quick clip, which is actually what motivated me and put the spirit on me to actually go into this lesson. I found it really disturbing, because what you have is an Eve, right? A so-called black woman that is the wife of this beast man, Esau Edom. And she doesn't realize that that's the enemy. So, I'm sort of leaning toward titling this lesson, Sleeping with the Enemy. Now, Eve is oblivious to, the fact that this man is her enemy. And she actually thinks that this is a win for her, that she's winning, that this is a victory somehow. But I'm going to point out some things and let you know that these people were never meant to be joined to us, okay? They're nothing like us, okay? You got to flee from that Christianity doctrine that says we're all equal, because then you're oblivious to the fact that you have enemies. All right, so first off, let me quickly show you this clip I'm talking about, and then we'll continue with the lesson.
All right, baby, I'm gonna make you some Mettbrötchen, a German dish. Start with some raw meat. She's gonna season with some black pepper, put some caraway seeds on there, mustard and a touch of ketchup, pickle and onions, a little parsley, sriracha. I feel she'll like it better with an egg. All right, you gotta try my version of a German dish called Mettbrötchen. Can you say Mettbrötchen?
Mettbrötchen.
All right, Deja, try this raw meat dish. See what you think.
I'm doing this for your fans, by the way.
Raw ground beef.
Tastes like a hamburger.
It's good? But it's good, right?
It's good. It's not like, oh my God. It's
Okay,
good.
but you enjoy it, right?
It's good. I fucks with it.
She's almost finished for hers. It's good, right? The more you eat it, the more better it becomes, right?
Mm-hmm. Like the mustard. I'm like a big on mustard.
And you like it, right?
What's going on here?
Can you believe what you're seeing right now? Eve, get out, man. What are you doing? God, this girl's lost. It's delusional. And she thinks this is a win. She thinks she thinks the grass is greener on the other side. And you could tell she didn't want to eat it. You know what I mean? But for some reason, Eve finds it more easier to be submissive to the devil, because that's what he is, the devil, right? You could tell that's an Edomite, okay? And I'm not talking about just by appearance, because like I said in the intro to my lesson, this ain't about color, but you can tell through certain characteristics and spirit of a man what he is, okay? And that is definitely 100% an Edomite, man. Okay, and we're gonna dig a bit deeper, but you could tell Eve feels trapped, man. I almost want to say blink twice if you need help. You know what I mean? This girl, she didn't want to eat it, but you know she didn't want to disappoint him. You know what I mean? But yeah, let that be a Jake, and she'll probably have all kind of attitude and mouth, and no submissiveness whatsoever. But she'll be submissive to a cave daddy Esau, man. It's crazy. It's crazy what I just witnessed. Anyway, so after seeing this, I thought I gotta speak on it, you know, just to bring a few things out, a few points, you know what I'm saying? Because Esau, you gotta understand who he is. Esau is not our equal. He's not our friend. He's nobody to look up to. Don't copy in his ways. He's got our Eve out here eating raw beef, man, which can carry all kinds of bacteria and diseases and parasites. My gosh, man, what are you doing? He says, I call it McGregor, or whatever the hell he said. Can you say McGregor? And then when she said it, you could see her eye twitching, kind of like she's being forced to say it. Yo, Eve, what are you doing? Anyway, man. So let me bring out the book of Genesis, right? We're gonna start here, and the stuff highlighted in blue I want to read later, but for now I'm gonna read verse 29. So this is Genesis chapter 25, starting at 29, and I'm gonna read all of this here highlighted in yellow. It says, and Jacob sod pottage. Jacob is you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay? You are the children of Israel, which is Jacob. So Jacob sod pottage. To sod means to boil. So he boiled pottage, right? It says, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. Okay? So Esau is Jacob's twin brother. So you can say basically the so-called black man and the so-called white man, right? We say so-called because nobody's black and nobody's white. Esau is actually red, okay? The name Edom means red. This is why his name is Edom. Okay, so Esau's name is Edom. He's the children of Edom, the Edomites. All right? We're the Israelites. They're the Edomites. You got to understand this. This is the basics, okay? It says in verse 30, and Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage. See? Red pottage, okay? It says, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom, right? Because Edom means red. So, in verse 31 it says, and Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Now, you do have people that argue as to whether it was actually meat or whether it was lentils. But either way, regardless of what it was, and we believe it to be raw meat, undercooked meat, right? But we know either way that one of Esau's characteristics is that he loves to eat raw meat. Okay. And there is another scripture that speaks about how through one morsel of meat he sold his birthright, right? So basically, Esau was very impatient, and that's the characteristics of Esau. This is why during his rulership, his kingdom, you see fast food this, fast food that, microwavables, and everything's just fast, credit, credit-based system, right? Because it goes into Esau's impatient characteristics, right? So he didn't want to wait for it to be cooked. He said, "Feed me of that same red pottage, for I am faint." So Jacob said, "Yeah, sell me your birthright." So some will argue that Esau sold his birthright. Jacob stole his birthright, when Jacob didn't steal his birthright. Jacob took advantage of him when he was weak. He supplanted him, which is, what Jacob, the name Jacob goes into. It's a supplanter, right? And Esau sold his birthright, okay? So it was that whole situation was basically set up by the Lord anyway, right? Because Esau was never meant to have that birthright, because he was created to be the wicked, okay? And the children that came of Jacob were the children of the Lord, the chosen seed line, the righteous, the ones that are going to rule the new earth that's coming, which the Bible calls the kingdom of heaven. We're going to fix every problem in this world, through our Lord and Savior, Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus, right? Now, anyway, before I go off course, right? So this is where you get one of the first characteristics of Esau. He likes his food undercooked, right? Now, let me show you some more clips to back this up.
It's Raw Meat Thursday. Here's what the Carnivore Coon. Time for them show. Carnivore Coon. Out.
That's Esau if I ever seen him. But can you believe that's our twin brother? But the Lord said, two manner of people will be separated from her bowels. You know what I mean? Our mother, our foremother, Rebecca. All right. So the Lord said, 2 nations are in thy womb. 2 different nations came from the same man. And the Lord can do that. It was all to fulfill prophecy, okay? Because you had to have these people in the earth, which are the children of the wicked. They had to play the role of the villain, the bad guy in this whole movie, if you will, right? That we call life. This is why there's such beef and hatred between the so-called black man and the so-called white man. So much racism and we war against each other. We butt heads, and it's always going to be that way because it goes back to the story of Jacob and Esau. Before I play any more clips, let me actually go ahead and just put this into perspective. And I'll go ahead and read this stuff that's highlighted in blue here. In the book of Genesis, chapter 25, and starting at 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. Verse 21, and Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. So, his wife couldn't have children. Isaac is Jacob and Esau's father, right? So before they were conceived, the mother Rebecca couldn't have children. She was barren. Her womb was empty, right? It says, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebecca, his wife, conceived. So she had a miracle pregnancy, right? It says, and the children struggled together within her. See, we fought since the womb, okay? We've never gotten along because it was written that way. It was meant to be that way. This is where the first act of racism came from, right? You had Esau treating us unfairly in the womb, man. Being a demon. He's been a demon ever since day one, okay? So, we were fighting in the womb, all right? Esau's always been the aggressor. I bet he started it, you know what I mean, in the womb. And then he wants to play the victim. It says, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? So if these children are struggling within my, if the Lord, if you gave me this miracle pregnancy, why am I having these complications? She said. And she went to inquire of Yahweh.
And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. See? 2 separate nations, okay? The Lord deals with nations. This is what these Christians don't understand. We're all equal. We're all one. We're all the same. We all bleed red. They don't know what's going on, man. It says, and 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people, right? 2 different types of people. Jake is the salt of the earth, man. Jake is so much different in their mannerisms than Esau, these Edomites, right? 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, right? And the elder shall serve the younger. Now, let's just show you a quick clip relating to how one people is stronger than the other people, okay? Because it's evident who that is in the world today, man. All right? Check this out.
I did. Bitch, I'm like that. Bitch, I'm like that. I told you to run, ho. I'm like that, bitch. You get your ass flip like a Krabby Patty fuck, nigga. Run away. I promise you I'm gonna take that dog when I see you, bitch.
Oh, that clip never gets old, man. I actually love that clip. It's so funny. Now, pay attention to the color of the both men, okay? You have one that is, he's not black, as some people call us black people, right? He's actually brown. And then the other one is not white. He's red. Pay attention to the color. I'm going to play this clip one more time because I know you want to see it as much as I do. I love watching this clip. It's funny. But it just shows you who is the stronger one. And this is just one out of many examples. We're more dominant. We're more aggressive. We're more passionate. We're more, and Esau uses these things against us. That's why he slapped us all in the hood and had us fighting over crumbs so he could point finger. Look how aggressive they are. Look how violent they are. No, we're just passionate people. But you put us in a dog-eat-dog condition, right? Fighting over crumbs. And then you want to point finger like you're the innocent one. And look at us. We're just savages, beasts. Which we do behave like that. But, it's all, you got to look at the ruler of the earth, right? Point the finger at the manager, not the so-called peasants, I'd say. You know what I mean? Because that's the way they look at us as peasants. But anyway, check out the color of the 2 people. We'll play it again.
I did. Bitch, I'm like that. Bitch, I'm like that. I told you to run, ho. I'm like like that, bitch. You get your ass flipped like a Krabby Patty Funk, nigga. Run away. And I promise you I'm gonna take that gun when I see you, bitch.
Oh, Esau's through. Anyway, yeah, that's Esau, red. Okay, Edom. Edom means red, remember? Now, let's continue where we left off. Where were we? Okay, verse 23. It says, And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, stronger mentally, physically, spiritually, all right? Esau couldn't endure what we went through in all those years that we were in chains, man, when we were in slavery. Esau couldn't deal with it like we did, okay? Because they're a weaker nation of people. But you best believe their turn is coming and they're getting double, so it's going to be hell for them in the future. That's why the Lord says, Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. The cup shall pass through unto thee. That's your outcome, is you're going to have to face exactly what we went through, but even worse. Okay, so all you got to do is, your whole purpose is just to have as much fun as you can before this happens. That's why it says, Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. All right, because you're next. Okay. So anyway, let's move on. Verse 24 says, And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, because they didn't have ultrasounds and stuff back then. And she didn't understand what was going on in her stomach when the twins were fighting. Okay. She didn't know she was having twins. She just knew that her stomach was going crazy, right? But then when she gave birth, you know, she found out earlier because obviously she inquired of Yahweh, and he told her twins were in her womb, right? But, you know, when she was delivering, she found out, you know, I got twins, you know. So verse 25, it says, And the first came out red. Edom, right? The first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. Okay, so this doesn't mean he was red and hairy. Although as he grew up, yeah, one of his characteristics was that he is hairier than his brother Jacob, right? Let's quickly prove that before we go any further. All right, so this is the book of Genesis chapter 27 and verse 11. It says, And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. And you know, when you see the so-called black man and the so-called white man, so-called black people aren't as hairy as Edomites, okay? Our legs are not as hairy, our arms are not as hairy. You know, we have hair, you know, in the places that men are supposed to have hair, but we're by nature smoother than an Edomite. Edomites have a lot of hair, man. This is why they fit the characteristics of, you know, the Neanderthal, a caveman, right? Although they were the original Neanderthals, you know. And the scriptures speak about that in the book of Job chapter 30, but Lord willing, we'll get into that in a bit later, because there's a few precepts I need to bring out in that actual chapter. So let's go back to where we were. And we were, let's read 25 again. It says, And the first came out red. See? So he's not white, he's red. They call him white. They call him white people. They're red. This is why we don't go by color. You don't want to be calling, hey, look at those red people, you know. They just don't sound right, although that is true. So we go by their biblical nationality. Look at them Edomites, okay? Because that's who they originally were. And we need to bring that vibration back in the world. Israelites and Edomites, okay? That's who they really are according to the Holy Bible, right? So the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. It says, And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. So 80 is 60 years old, because a score is 20. So 80 means 3 times 20. All right. Now, The reason it doesn't describe Jacob's color is because Jacob looked like everybody else in the world at that time. You got to understand, when the Lord created this earth, he said that everything that he created was good. He saw that it was good, right? And, you know, if melanin protects you from the sun, then, you know, it's obvious that everybody had melanin back then. You just got to use common sense, man. You know, having melanin is not abnormal. They've twisted things to make it seem like it's not normal to have melanin. But why do they spray fake tan and do all these things and tanning beds and all that to try and look like us? It's because they know that we're meant to have melanin, man. And melanin looks better than, you know, translucent, pale flesh. You understand? Now, let's read on. This is verse 27. It says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, right? Why does it explain this? It's because this is letting you know who they are in the world today. This is their characteristics, right? So as the boy grew and they developed their characteristics, it says Esau was a cunning hunter. And what is these rednecks? Red, there goes that word red again, right? But what do these rednecks like to do? They like to hunt, don't they? They're big on hunting. And it says that he was a man of the field, right? Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, meaning a man of the world. He likes to go skydiving, rock climbing, surfing, all kinds of stuff like that. Kayaking, you know, whatever. You know, there's many things Esau likes to do. He's just out there doing it all, you know. Bungee jumping, all of that. He's a man of the field. It says, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So Jacob likes to chill. He'll blaze a zoot, blaze a bit of weed or whatever, and he'll listen to music. You know, he just likes chilling. That's his characteristics. He's just a plain man, right? He's not out there like that. He's just, you know, just chilling, right? He just likes to enjoy the simple things in life, man. Right? So this lets you know off the back that, you know, who Esau and Jacob is in the world today, right? Now, let me show you another quick clip or two. Check this out.
I don't really have time to prepare this raw chicken breast any fancy way, so I'm just eating it with a few hors d'oeuvres. Just plain raw. I gotta get ready for work. I don't really have a lot of time. Some hot sauce. I used to hate chicken until I started eating it raw, and it tastes just like fish. Raw chicken and orange is a great combo. I'm in raw chicken heaven, baby. I feel like chicken tonight. Raw chicken tonight. So much healthier raw. You'll never get sick from raw. Cooked food is the one you gotta watch out for. Fried chicken is the toxic one.
My God, man. Eve, what are you doing? This is the guy she's with, man. This is who she lets on top of her. I mean, look at him, man. Hairy, pale, just disgusting. And look at his hair, man. He looks like he smells like wet dog. Because a lot of these Edomites do. They smell like wet dog. And eating all that raw meat, man. That's so, oh my God. Like, why? This is the characteristic of Esau. He's just a beast. A beast, man. Okay? Hairy beast, cave beast, man. Oh my God. But anyway, that's who Eve wants to be with. Right. I'll show you a couple more, showing you that, you know, it's not just one account of this happening. This is Esau's characteristics, man.
Right, I literally think this is why I'm single, because this is what I snack on. This is my snack. Because literally, who wants to date the girl who literally carries this round with her in the gym? Get out of bed. It's actually better than a fucking Big Mac.
You nasty bitch. walking around eating with a spoon and a damn bone, eating bone marrow like it's yogurt, man. Yogurt, as they say in England, yogurt in America. Anyway, but she's walking around like it's a damn yogurt, man. It's crazy. Ugh. Yeah, and you know that shit stinks eating all this raw meat. You know that when you go to a public toilet, right, and somebody has just stank out the whole area. You know what I mean? You could smell it as you're walking up to the public restroom. And it's like, how? Like, how do you smell that bad? Like, I know naturally, like, crap stinks by nature. Ain't nobody whose crap doesn't stink. But like that, come on, man. Like, I've never in my life smelt that bad. But now it all makes sense. It's because all that rotten raw meat just rotting in their stomach, man. When it comes out, it must smell like, oh, like death. And I'm pretty sure that's got to be the reason, is because these people are eating raw meat, and then when they take a crap, it just, oh, yeah, that's that's more than likely the reason. Anyway, let me play a few more clips. Let me play a few more clips, Salakia. These people ain't right.
So today I bought a lamb head. The butcher already cut it into 2 halves for me. Inside is an entire brain. And I have never had lamb or any brain before, so I'm really excited to try this. Let's give it a go. This is what it looks like. Wow. That is so good. It is extremely creamy and fatty. Almost has like a little bit of a salty flavor. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna eat the entire thing because it's so good.
These Edomites ain't right, man. Who would do that? Who in their right mind would eat a raw lamb's brain? I mean, I've seen it all, man. I've seen it all now. This is crazy. You know? Let's go back to this original video, right? Because I got a precept or two I want to bring out on this.
All right, baby, I'm gonna make you some Mettbrötchen, a German dish. Start with some raw meat. She's gonna season with some black pepper. Put some caraway seeds on there. Mustard and a touch of ketchup. Pickle and onions. A little parsley. Sriracha. I feel she'll like it better with an egg. All right, you gotta try my version of a German dish called Mettbrötchen. Can you say Mettbrötchen?
Mettbrötchen.
All right, Deja, try this raw meat dish. See what you think.
I'm doing this for your fans, by the way.
Raw ground beef.
Tastes like a hamburger.
It's good? But it's good, right?
It's good. It's not like, oh my god. It's
okay,
good.
but you enjoy it, right?
It's good. Have fun with it.
She's almost finished with hers. It's good, right? The more you eat it, the more better it becomes, right?
I like the mustard. I'm maybe big on mustard.
And you like it, right?
What's going on?
Devil, man. Anyway, right. Let's let's bring out a precept or two, man. This, oh my gosh, man. Seen it all. Seen it all. All right, so this is the book of Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 26. It says, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. Okay, so, you know, these people, you know, if you allow them to, they're going to seduce you into doing wicked stuff, man. You know, because we're naturally a godly people. This is why we're packed in the Christian church, calling on Cesar Borgia, you know, who they like to call Jesus, right? Now, obviously us in the know that that's a false god, right? And that the true power is Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Okay, so the Son is real, you know, but not the way that they describe him and his characteristics and stuff, you know. That's the version they want you to have. But anyway, so the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor. The righteous is our people, our seed line, okay? Not that all of our people are righteous, but we are the seed of the righteous. And we're more excellent than our neighbor, okay? Because Deuteronomy 7 and 6 says that we are a holy people unto the Lord, above all people that are upon the face of the earth, right? Roughly paraphrasing. So we're above all these other people, all these other nations, right? It says, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. So the wicked is Esau, Edom, okay? That's the wicked of the Bible. You have wicked people of all nations, but when you go into the meaning of the wicked, that's talking about Esau, Edom, okay? He's that wicked seed line, and we're the righteous seed line. It's all about Jacob and Esau. But the ways of the wicked seduce them. That's why you had that Eve over here, you know, didn't want to disappoint him, basically, but you could tell she didn't want to eat it. Right? She looked trapped. In all honesty, she looked trapped. She looked like, what have I done? I'm sure she's starting to realize that he's the devil. The more she gets, the more she's around him, you know? But anyway, man, let's read the book of Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 10, because there's another scripture I want to bring out. It says, my son, right? And this goes for you women too. This is talking about our people, right? My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. See? So if they cause you to sin, which eating bloody meat, raw meat is a sin, okay? Let's prove that in just a second. But the point is, my son, if sinners entice thee, right? These Edomites, they're not the children of the Lord. They're sinners. All they know is sin, right? Which is transgression of the law. Okay? Sin is transgression of the law. Keep that in mind, right? So if people that transgress the law entice you, it says, consent thou not. Don't do what they do. Okay? Like that Eve did in that video, man. She consented to a sinner enticing her. Okay? He seduced her into being like him, a beast. The hell is wrong with you, Eve, man? All right? Let's quickly prove that we're not meant to eat red meat, right? In the book of Genesis, chapter 9 and verse 4. Let me highlight that. Right? It says, but flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. See? And some will say, that's the Old Testament. No, the Lord doesn't change, okay? The Lord says, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed, roughly paraphrasing, which that daughter, which is one of the children, one of the sons of Jacob, right? That Eve, she got consumed because she thought that's the Old Testament. I'm sure she's thinking in her head. Or maybe she just don't even believe in the Lord at all. But either way, for those that say that's the Old Testament, no, the Lord doesn't change. Therefore, we're not consumed by these devils trying to entice us into their ways, right? The Lord doesn't change, okay? So it says the flesh, but the flesh with the life thereof, the life is the blood, right? So flesh with blood in it, which is the blood thereof, ye, it says, shall ye not eat. So don't eat it. Do what the Lord says. He changes not. Let's quickly prove a bit further in Leviticus 17 and verse 14. There we go. Let's highlight that too. It says, for it is the life of all flesh, the blood of it is for the life thereof. Therefore I said unto you, the children of Israel, right? This is who he's speaking to. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not eat the blood of no manner of flesh. Raw chicken, don't eat that. Don't eat raw beef, raw lamb. Don't do what these sinners do, what these Edomites do, because they're not of the Lord. They're not children of the Lord. They don't desire the ways of the Lord, man. So it says, for the life of all flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth it shall be cut off. See? So you're going to be cut off and die, you know, in the days we're coming into, man, because the Lord's getting ready to pour out his judgment that he said would happen to those who, you know, sin against him, okay? So all of you out there eating raw meat, hey, prepare to meet your maker, man. Let me bring out the precept I was meaning to bring out in the book of Isaiah, chapter 14. And verse, what is it, 13, Isaiah 13 and 14, that's it. It says, and it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. So this is what's going to happen to Esau in the end. The world is going to turn on him. We're going to chase him out of the world. It says, they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one to his own land. See? And this is what you're starting to see happen right now. Everybody's starting to turn on the so-called white man and realize that they're the biggest problem in this earth. All problems link back to them. And they're here as a last resort, trying to blame it on the fake JEWs, right? Which they don't understand that they're the same people. The fake JEWs are Edomites. Take a close look at them. They're the same nation of people, just a different tribe. All right. Now, it says, everyone that is found shall be thrust through. So these Edomites are getting ready to perish, most of them. All right. We're coming into that time. It says, and every one that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. See? Because you're going to have to pick a side during that time, man. Are you with them or are you with your own people? Because race war is coming. Okay? So this is what's going to happen. You know, if you're joined unto these devils, man, you're getting ready to be thrust through, just like scriptures say. All right? Now, let me show you a few more clips. Okay? Because these people ain't right. And I've got loads of clips of them eating raw meat. Disgusting, man. And you notice they're all out of shape like beasts. Okay? Because they're eating... their diet ain't right, man. The Lord is very strict about our diet. We're not like them. We're not supposed to eat the things that they eat. You know, there's specific, strict dietary laws that the Bible wants us to stick to, man. One of them is not to eat fat. We're supposed to cut the fat off our meat too. You know, the Lord is only doing these things to protect us because these other people are ungodly and unruly as hell. And we ought not follow in their footsteps, man. You see how hairy that beast is, man. These red people. Look at them closely. They're red. Like that meat he's holding. Just different shades of red. This guy is a bit more paler than red. His cheeks are a bit red, but that's Esau, okay? They love that red meat. Let's turn to the book of Hebrews chapter 12 verse 16 real quick. All right. Let's highlight that. There we go. Right. It says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. Okay. Now, profane means outside the temple, right? So they're not right. They're, you know, they don't keep the ways of the Lord, man. But there's no fornicator or profane person as Esau. He's the worst, right? Of all the heathen. It says, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. And that's what we read in the book of Genesis chapter 25, right? For one morsel of meat, red meat, right? Undercooked meat. He sold his birthright. See? So therefore, you know, there's no repentance for Esau, man. It says it right here. Let's highlight that too. It says in verse 17, for ye know that how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. See? There's no repentance for Esau, no salvation. It says, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. They'll never change their ways. They'll never turn to the Lord and keep the ways of the Lord. Put it to the test. They just can't do it. It's not in them. It's not woven in their DNA. Now, concerning Esau being profane, right? I just want to bring something out real quick. Because, you know, Esau has a huge reputation of sleeping with various sorts of animals, you know, especially dogs. He has a weird obsession with dogs. So let me show you a few clips, man, just to kind of, you know, prove what I'm talking about. So what you just witnessed there was an Edomite getting caught humping a chicken till it died. Disgusting, man. Vile. And these people do things like this on a regular basis, man. They have things like, what is it? Sheep brothels, where they'll tie up a sheep and just have their way with it and pay, you know, they'll pimp out a sheep. This is crazy, man. But this is the world we live in under Esau's rule. You know, scriptures say that, you know, if a man lies with an animal, then the man has to die and that beast has to die. They have to be put to death. Okay. Check this other one out I got right here.
A few years ago, while I was a police officer, we had a kid. He was selling crack cocaine and he was hiding them right here in his mouth. After realizing what he did, we started to chase him and he immediately swallowed all of the crack bags that were in his mouth. If you know anything about that, he could have overdosed when the bag burst through his stomach acid. So we took him to the hospital. They proceeded to give him charcoal. And that's really a waiting game to get him to throw up the crack into a bowl. So we're sitting there waiting in the emergency room, and all of a sudden I see this like 30-year-old white guy walk into the emergency room. He's got like this big blanket on the front of him and he's like, I need some help. The nurses run up to him and they're like, what's wrong? And he takes the blanket. He was having sex with a poodle and the poodle died and the sphincter locked on. So after the dog was removed, he was arrested.
And that's the Edomite for you, man. That's who Eve wants to join up with. These people are like this by nature, man. They have an absolute disgusting obsession with dogs. And Job spoke about this. Let me bring that out real quick in the book of Job, chapter 30. All right? Because this is very much biblical. Because this is one of the things that they are known to do. That's why it's in the scriptures. So it says in verse 1 here, let me highlight that. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. See? Job is saying that their forefathers were so vile that he would have disdained. He wouldn't have them set with the dogs of his flock, because he knew that they would sleep with his dogs, man. Because these people have an absolute vile obsession with dogs. Let me show you a few clips, because they love letting dogs lick them in the mouth and all that, because they're disgusting people by nature, man. They have a crazy obsession with dogs. Check this out. That face says it all. Jake, like, what the hell is up with these people? They're disgusting. They always do that. It's always them. God, man. Anyway, check this out.
Peanut. Nova. Kai. Oops. Nala. Oh. Easton. All right. Good job, everybody. I think I have enough for one more round. Nova.
Nova.
Peanut.
Peanut.
Kai.
Kai.
Nala.
Nala.
Easton.
That's child abuse. You can't tell me no different. That's child abuse, man. Dogs' mouths are very dirty. You know, they like to say, oh, dog's mouth is cleanest mouth on earth or whatever. They're lying. Dogs' mouths are disgusting, and people get diseases from getting licked by dogs, you know. There was a woman that had to have her limbs amputated because a dog licked her in the mouth or something like that. I forget exactly how it went down, but there's a story out there like that, man. Because it just proves to you that that's just nasty, you know. You can tell in the spirit that ain't right, man. And she's letting this dog. Why not let the kid eat first and then feed the dog, and then stop there? Don't put any more food in the kid's mouth after the dog lick it. But this is normal to these Edomites. They don't see nothing wrong with that. They don't see anything wrong with what they're doing, man.
There you go. Merry Christmas Eve, my love. You want some of that? Oh, go ahead.
Oh my god.
You're more than welcome to.
Yes, nobody else will be eating that shit. Might as well throw that away now.
She just licked a little bit right there. Here, if it makes you guys feel any better, I'll remove the little spot where she licked.
Oh man, Jake knows that ain't right. But these people are oblivious to it. Oh my god, it's just like common nature to them, man. It's like, oh my god. Yeah, segregation wouldn't be a bad thing, in all honesty. These people need to get the hell away from us. So anyway, let's read a bit further, because there's a few more things that I want to bring out. It says, for want and famine, right? This is Job 30:3. It says, for want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste. So this is their history that they like to hide. They call it the Dark Ages. They say there wasn't much going on during that time. Yeah, right. It's because they weren't glorified during that time. That's all. So they want to hide this history because they're ashamed of it. It says, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. So we chased them off. to the caves. It says in verse 6, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. So these people are the cave dwellers. Okay, original cavemen. It says, among the bushes they brayed. To bray means to make a noise like a donkey. You know, booga booga, right? It says, among the bushes they brayed. Under the nettles they were gathered together. So these people didn't, they didn't know how to talk. They were just really disgusting by nature back then. Now what you get is like a cleaned up caveman. These people are, because they're ruling the world, and we taught them everything that they know and invented pretty much everything on the planet that they try to benefit from and claim as theirs, right? So now everybody's looking at these people like there's something special when they're really vile people. It says it right here. It says in verse 8, they were children of fools. Yeah, children of base men. See, a base is the bottom of the barrel, like a person that's just, no one to look up to. They're just the scum of the earth, right? The basest, the bottom, right? The children of base men, they were viler than the earth. And now am I their song? Yeah, I am their byword. See? So they were viler than the earth. And I've got a few clips I want to show you on top of dogs licking them in the mouth, them sleeping with animals and all that. I'm going to show you a few things that show you by nature how vile these people are. They're nothing like us, man.
We need to say the truth. White people have never been clean. Not now, not ever. The entire history of Europe is a story of people refusing to wash their asses while looking down on everyone else. Let's start with the ancestors you worship so much. Medieval and early modern Europeans. People so filthy they were literally scared of water. They believed that bathing opened the pores and let in disease, so instead of washing, they simply wiped themselves down with dry rags and perfume. Imagine thinking water is bad for you while living in streets filled with feces and piss. Doctors warned against bathing, saying that it was too stimulating and would weaken the body. Instead, they told people to rub themselves with dry powders or just change their linens and call it a day. King Louis XIV of France, the Sun King, bathed twice in his entire life. Let that sink in. The most powerful man in Europe smelled like a rotting corpse dipped in cologne. Queen Isabella of Spain also bragged about only bathing twice in her entire life. These people ruled empires while literally festering in their own filth. You want to call other people savages? Let's talk about their hygiene habits, or lack thereof. They didn't wash their clothes. They just aired them out like letting filth touch fresh air was some kind of magical cleaning method. They slept in lice-infested beds and wore the same sweat-soaked, piss-stained clothing for weeks or months at a time. Queen Elizabeth I bragged about only changing her undergarments once a month. Her whole palace must have smelled like a backed-up sewer. Their mouths? A disaster. Europeans didn't brush their teeth. At all. By the time they were 30, their mouths were full of blackened, rotting stumps. King James I of England's breath was so bad, people would write him letters telling him how unbearable it was to be near him. Meanwhile, at the exact same time, indigenous Americans, Africans, and Asians were bathing daily, cleaning their teeth with herbs, and wearing fresh clothes. But Europeans pulled up smelling like roadkill and still had the audacity to call everyone else dirty. Let's talk about the cities you love to glorify. Paris, London, and Rome. These places were open cesspools. People threw their shit and piss into the streets because they didn't have proper sewage systems. London's Thames River was literally so full of human waste that it became toxic. In 1858, the Parliament had to shut down because of the stench, called the Great Stink, was so unbearable. Paris? Just as bad. The streets were covered with garbage, excrement, and dead animals. It was so bad that the air itself was dangerous to breathe. Meanwhile, at the exact same time, the Aztecs had running water, street cleaners, and aqueducts bringing fresh water into the city. So tell me again, who are the real savages? But let's not pretend this filth is just in the past. White people are still dirty today. You have to be convinced to wash your legs in the shower. Doctors are telling you to wash your damn feet because so many of you think that you can just let the water trickle down and that's enough. The 2020s exposed how many white celebrities don't bathe daily. Ashton Kutcher, Kristen Bell, Jake Gyllenhaal, all proudly claiming they don't shower unless they see dirt. White parents are still proudly saying that they only bathe their kids when they start to smell. Imagine raising the next generation of walking biohazards. You normalized wearing outside clothes to bed, spreading whatever germs you caught from the outside world directly onto your sheets. You go to bed without washing your hands, your face, or brushing your teeth, and wonder why your skin looks like a medieval battlefield. Meanwhile, Black, Latino, Asian, and indigenous cultures have always prioritized hygiene. Africans were using shea butters, scented oils, and natural soaps before Europeans even knew what soap was. Indigenous Americans bathed in rivers daily using herbal cleansers. South Asian and Middle Eastern cultures developed some of the earliest bathhouses, perfumes, and skincare regimens. Latinos are known for showering twice a day and keeping their homes spotless. And yet, white people still have the nerve to act like they invented civilization. The reality? You have never been clean. Your ancestors weren't clean. Your great-grandparents weren't clean. Your hygiene habits, questionable at best. Cope.
And they haven't changed those hygiene habits even to this day. You know, they still, a lot of them, I wouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them still don't believe in using wash rags, and they don't shower daily, you know. And, you know, I've got proof. These people are nothing like, you know, Jacob. This is the difference between Jacob and Esau, okay? They've always been known as vile people. So much that it's scriptural. You know, I read it.
Children probably bathe maybe once a week.
Can you talk
maybe,
to him about
and
this?
they don't use.
Michael's a fourth Japanese. He
One
thinks they have
time-
to bathe every day. Can you?
One time we had somebody on and they were talking about this, and when the clip went viral and they said we were abusing people, I was like,
oh Lord.
They said something about privilege too. I was like, what? I didn't know
No,
how that
I
works.
said that I did delayed bathing with both my kids.
After they were
Yes,
born.
that's because why would you need to? Why are they dirty?
Talk to us about how you only bathe your kids once a week. I want to know more about that.
Well, first off, I just let my kids do what they want to do. I have 4 children. I'm not going to fight with my kids over little stupid things like bathing.
Agreed.
Like,
What's the age gap again?
Almost 10, 7, 5, and 2.
Woo, you're in it.
Yeah.
So you don't make them bathe every day. You'll just do when they want to once a week.
If it's once a week, you know, like now they they swim. We have a pool and they swim in the summer. So I guess we call that bathing. So it's probably even less than that, you know, but no, we tell it like our kids have autonomy over their bodies and their rooms, assuming, you know, and they can make all the choices.
She said stupid things like bathing. That's, you know, that says it all right there, man.
Hygiene is cultural, and there's nothing you can say to me to make me believe otherwise. Do you guys remember this video I posted?
This is probably the biggest cliche about French people. We don't wear deodorant. We don't shower. We stink. And of course, we use deodorant. We even have deodorant that goes up to 72 hours. Then we don't have to shower every day.
It got me thinking. I never understood why there was the need for 48-hour deodorant, 72-hour deodorant. Then I came across 2 videos of 2 different women's husbands and their showering routines, and it gave me the answers to all I needed to know. Because not only are some people not washing daily, when they wash, they're not washing their whole body.
Please explain to me one more time.
Wash your beard.
Then where does the soap go next?
I do a triangle.
A triangle? I'm scared for my life.
Get out your MasterCard and you Amex right back here.
Don't even wash your pits?
Sometimes.
You
have to wash my hair, so I put the shampoo and all that in my hair first. Face washcloth. So I'm washing my face. After that, then I go to my body washcloth, and then I most here, then I'm the torso, and then I do the other arm switch. So my back,
My upper back has never been washed with soap.
I spend a lot of time on my legs because there's a lot of dead skin there.
And then not touch your legs. Don't touch your legs at all when washing. I've washed my legs. I think I've ever washed my legs.
Work my way down to my feet and get in between my toes.
What kind of psychopath washes your... I don't even touch my feet. Why the fuck would I wash my feet? I'm not touching my feet.
Yeah, they want us to believe that we're dirty, that we're savages. Okay, yeah, well, the evidence speaks for itself, man.
When you shower, look at this. What's the first thing you wash?
Okay, I definitely go hair first.
Really?
Hair first.
Hair first?
Hair first.
Do you wash your hair every time?
Yeah.
With shampoo?
Well, I only take like one shower every 6 days, so.
So you start with hair.
Start with hair.
And then
I'll normally do conditioner, and then face wash. Then I get out.
Oh, hell no. She's in there. I know you lying. How long is your shower?
Like 4 minutes. I
That's
will be,
efficient.
listen,
4 minutes.
I have no shame. It's not my past, it's my present. And I'm not ashamed. I do not wash my body.
At all?
No. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
It's
no.
a waste of time. The soap like runs down you.
Sure.
And then
sure.
you just kind of,
Yeah, that's what, because I said. The shimmy shake?
yeah, you shimmy it down.
Shimmy shake.
Like, you know how the soap's like,
Yo, absolutely. I'm on
and
the
you
same
just
page.
kind of like run it, you run it.
No, I'm not fully bored, but like I have a ticket. I just don't know if I'm hopping on, you know?
I was told this was a safe space.
No, there's no judgment. It's just kind of shocking.
It's not shocking to me. There's many stories of them saying the same thing. They actually have a warped concept of how you wash your body, man. You know, they believe that the suds rolling down your body is sufficient, you know, enough, you know, for cleaning. You know, they think that that's what it takes to clean your body is just suds rolling down your skin. That's not what cleaning is, man. You Edomites are warped. Anyway, it gets deeper, it gets worse, man. Check this out.
So, should you wash your feet while you're in the shower? So, not just taking a shower, but should you specifically go down to your feet, get down there, and wash them?
Oh, no.
This is an ongoing debate. We still don't even have our votes in for this one because people are still
Okay,
voting. But
here's
what
the
do you
thing. So
think?
bending over to wash your feet?
Yes.
Okay, I just feel like everything's rolling on down that way anyway.
I mean,
They're
I agree.
getting clean
I
because
agree
the dial suds is
100%. But may I ask you, do you bend down there to shave your legs?
Yeah, well, no, I put my leg up on the landing.
Oh, yeah. Gotta differ with you ladies. I'm down there scrubbing in between the toes, like
Wait,
getting
you
it all.
are?
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot happening down there. It's just like somebody posted a map of where people wash. And
Yes, I
it's
did.
always the same places.
Where?
Here,
Armpits.
here, and your feet.
And
Your
but hey,
feet.
do you
Isn't
don't
that
even, I have a question. Do you even go below the knee when you're washing?
No. Wow, I'm learning a lot today. But water splashes there, and I shave my legs almost every day. A little soap, a little scrub. I don't know.
What's the first thing you wash?
Okay, I definitely go hair first.
Hair first?
Hair first.
Do you wash your hair every time?
Well, I only take like one shower every 6 days, so.
So you start with hair.
Start with hair.
And then
Then I'll normally do conditioner, and then face wash. Then I get out.
She's in there just.
So, you know, there's an ongoing pattern here of them being vile. Just like the scriptures said, you know, the scriptures don't lie. The proof is in the pudding, man.
I remember being told that I don't need to scrub my legs because the soap runs down my body. I remember being told that I didn't need to shower today because we had swam at the lake. I remember being told that shampoo is fine because it runs down, it washes everything. I don't remember being told how to clean my vajussi. I remember being not the only white girl in the army learning how to wash properly from the black girls. And they laughed a little bit too, but they stood with us and taught us with love. My mother-in-law has taught me more about myself than my actual mother did. I'm not gonna laugh at you because you don't understand the context of these messages. It is listen to black women and protect black women till I die.
Anyway, I want to show you a bit more about their history in a few more clips, and then we'll try and wrap this up. All right, because yeah, these people have never been clean. They've never been right. All right, check this out.
Urine was considered gold in ancient Rome. Back then, the government even imposed special taxes on the sale of urine. Sounds crazy, right? Many people made a living by collecting urine from public restrooms and private homes. Urine was used for various purposes, such as washing clothes and even cleaning teeth. Can you imagine the breath of people from that time? Workers would fill tubs with urine and stomp on the clothes to wash them. For teeth, they used urine as a mouthwash, believing it kept their teeth shiny. Both human and animal urine were used for cleaning. This practice might seem strange today, but it made sense at the time. Over time, urine decomposes and turns into ammonia, a substance commonly found in cleaning products. Urine was also perfect for softening and tanning animal hides, because the high pH of ammonia helped break down organic materials. Send this video to someone who says they were born in the wrong era. Want to learn more incredible curiosities? Follow our channel and don't miss the next videos.
Viler than the earth, the scriptures say. Keep that in mind, all right? The scriptures don't lie. They're the truth.
The most disgusting custom of the Middle Ages. In 1533, during a ceremony celebrating Anne Boleyn's coronation as Queen of England, she gracefully smiled and toasted guests while swaying her skirt to show off her noble poise. What no one could see was that underneath her large skirt, two ladies-in-waiting were crouched, one holding a bowl to catch the Queen's waist, and the other with a handkerchief ready to clean her. Wealthy individuals would import human excrement from other countries to brush their teeth. Nobles dined with utensils covered in snot, and kings would perform enemas publicly during morning meetings. Versailles, with all its grandeur, was once essentially a massive cesspit. At its peak, the palace housed over 36,000 people, but it only had 29 toilets, meaning waste frequently overflowed and spilled throughout the palace. Eventually, the queen grew concerned about hygiene and ordered all the toilets to be closed. This led to another problem. Noble women had to use their large hoop skirts as cover, finding hidden corners to relieve themselves, which is why most noble women in the Middle Ages didn't wear underwear. Over time, the solution for waste disposal became dumping it into the river. Centuries later, London's Fleet River had turned into what is now Fleet Street. Meanwhile, the French devised a different method, building high walls around cities.
You know, and these people still have these disgusting habits today, man. You know, they're the only people I've known to be able to just crap on demand, just squeeze out a turd at will. And I've got a few clips of it. They follow these same kind of customs because it's woven in their DNA to just be vile. You know, and a lot of them are still like that. You know, not all of them, but a lot of them are, man. Check this out. Something seriously wrong with these people, man. Just crap at will. You know, I've got many more clips of that, you know, them doing things like that, but, you know, I couldn't find it for this lesson, and it took too long to try and find it, so. But yeah, you know, this is Esau for you, man. This is the Edomite. Check this out.
Pilgrims didn't wash their ass. Why were the Pilgrims and the European settlers so reluctant to cleanse themselves? Well, I found an excellent article from History.com that discusses this very topic. Before we get into that, how did natives wash themselves, and how did it impact and influence those who were newly arrived? So Native Americans would use cold water and different plants, like the soapweed yucca plant, in order to cleanse themselves. Many plants have antimicrobial properties, and they even used plant fibers to help exfoliate the skin. In addition, they also had mouthwash using this plant, which is wildflower gold thread. It was used as mouthwash and as a mouth cleanser, and on the gums for dental pain, and also for teething. And even when it came to Native Americans using the bathroom, they had a really good sense of don't poop where you eat. So a hole would be dug not too far from where people live. The excrement would be put in the ground rather than on top because predators can track that kind of stuff. Or it would be excreted into water that was downstream because we understood the importance of raw sewage and how it can affect our health. England could have definitely taken some tips on that if you know anything about how polluted the Thames River became due to raw sewage. So anyway, back to the Stinkies. So when the Pilgrims arrived in Plymouth in the early 17th century, they didn't smell good. I love that History.com says they didn't smell terrific. And according to Native American accounts, like the Wampanoag who did bathe regularly, the Europeans did not. Natives even tried and failed at convincing them to wash themselves. Bathing, as you and I know, was very, very uncommon among Western Europeans until the later part of the 18th century. Which is why I find this kind of wild because y'all weren't taking care of your undercarriage. We had to teach you to do that, and then you didn't even want to do it. And this wasn't just like the lower class people. This went for all social classes. Louis, though, I forget how to do these numbers, 10, 5, 6, Louis the 16th? No, that doesn't sound right. I forgot how to do these. But one of the Louis, 17th century king of France, is said to have only taken 3 baths in his entire life. Could you imagine what slobbing on his knob must have been like? Ugh. Anyway. So both rich and poor might wash their faces and their hands on a daily basis, but almost no one in Western Europe washed their whole body. And so the Pilgrims and the Puritans who followed them may have even thought that submerging their whole body in water was unhealthy, and taking all of their clothes off to do so was immodest. So that's why John and Jacob look like this over here, wearing all these heavy layers of clothing in the heat. Yuck.
You know, the streets of London and, you know, different parts of Europe were so infested with feces that's the reason they had to invent the high heel, man. To, you know, walk above all the crap in the streets, you know, so they wasn't stepping in it. That's why the high heel was invented. You know, now today, you know, women wear it as a commodity and all that, like you know, I'm almost certain we ain't gonna have high heels in the kingdom of heaven, man, because that was the reason they existed in the first place, is to keep yourself from walking in crap. But just like umbrellas, now it's become a common thing, you know. And I can't wait to see the day when we put an end to that type of clothing, man, and that type of accessories and stuff, man, because it's all rooted in wickedness, you know. High heels are very damaging to the feet. But anyway, I think that's it. You know, I got a few more things I could probably play, but I don't want to make this lesson too lengthy. But yeah, I'll leave that there. You know, in a nutshell, Esau, he loves eating red meat, and he's viler than the earth. You know, and just these are the characteristics of the Edomite. You know, they are not as glorious as they make themselves out to be. It's because they rule the world, so they're obviously gonna, you know, they're gonna paint themselves in a good light in the world's eyes, when these people, they just ain't right, man. That's the Edomite for you. Esau is red. All right, so anyway, Lord willing, you've been edified by this lesson. I'll close it out here. I want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. All right, Shalom.